I think the place that I would like to start is the story that we got from Crownie a couple weeks ago. A couple episodes back, he was telling us about the xMatty situation. So the xMatty situation, and pretty much he said that when he was in Korea, and I know you've told your version of this before, but I think maybe there's more context out there now. Crownie's version of the story was that when he was in Korea, he was dominating xMatty like every scrim, like 10 times in a row. He's just winning every single game. And it was to the point where like xMatty was having like a borderline mental breakdown. Like he was just like getting like really emotional. And the team wanted him to play, but coaching staff and other people decided against it. How accurate is the story? What was the relationship between like Crownie and xMatty and that BDS Korean boot camp?
I mean, if that's his version of the story, then maybe he was in a different Korean boot camp. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Players, I mean, especially players, they like to paint their reality differently, right? The way I see it is, I can agree that Crownie maybe was like slightly better, but ultimately in the bootcamp, what happened is that Nuclear Int had 80% win rate in scrims. In our shared scrims, whoever had Nuke got bot lane roamed and could kill the enemy bot lane. Like I also have still VODs from lanes where Mati is 6-0 after 12 minutes, right? So I think the narrative of him dominating Mati in the bootcamp is overblown. What is true though is that we, as a main team, had losing record against them in scrims before even the bootcamp, and like in this context, I can kind of see how his mindset worked. I mean, I could even show you guys privately, but I have the actual decision paper that we wrote for the BDS bosses. That's like 4 or 5 pages long about where we went with that roster, because it was basically between the one that we had or Adam, Sheo, Nuke, Crownie, and Limit. And both were like kind of 50-50. And we just went with that configuration because, and that thing is low-key true. And I'm not sure like why there was so much negativity about it. I mean, I saw all 10 players and I didn't believe that any configuration would guarantee us a good result. And I even told him in Korea that given his history, because Mati is a rookie, Mati has more leeway to not have good games. If Crownie would have played, we wouldn't have okay, we win 2 more games on stage, congratulations, you know? But I even told him I think it's better for his career to stay in BDS, win EMEA Masters, and then maybe come up next year. Of course, as a player, you think like, no, if I would have played at the C, of course he would have won. But also I was tasked of building the organization up in that year, which also means, of course, the academy team has to perform, which was always the like moniker that we had in general, because else I would have sold a lot more. But for example, we had limitations that, I mean, Gotok afterwards was the main coach of BDS, right? He was my academy coach. Like the idea of putting Adam back down because he had to have like a reality check in terms of effort. Sheo was a little bit rough. And Nuke wanted to play with Synchro, for example, right? So like these decisions also came in. That also I think it's really important to build culture as a head coach. And basically, Crownie was not so much better as to make me bench Mati, who was the one who worked the hardest in this team. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Yamato, your head coach, right? If you tell your team that you want to see effort, and then on the first chance you bench the one player who actually puts in the effort every single day, what do you show your players, right? So I discussed it with Crownie multiple times. We were talking like we're fine. But that's one of the decisions. With the same information we had, I would do still 10 out of 10 times. Like I'm very, very confident in that being the right decision in that moment. It worked out for BDS the year after, because Crownie, the top side of Adam Sheo could build up some synergy. And again, Sheo was still rough on that bootcamp. And then they went up next year, right? And they qualified. So good job on that. But yeah, I'm really over this topic. Like if people want to have this narrative that he was smurfing 20-0 each game, sure. But it was basically Nuclear Int who could say that compared to Rika, right? But Rika was also like so depressed of Mid-Lions that he didn't want to play the C. Yep. Like he just came to Korea to give us the 10th player, but he did not want to play the C. He was so traumatized by the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if his experience with SK is actually helping that at all. Maybe he's
maybe.